Welcome to Karen's place, the space she uses to innovate. She'll make sure you're left thinking, I could do the same thing. Karen says, just do it. There ain't nothing to it. Just do it.
Welcome back to part 4 of our deep dive into AI for music production.
Yeah.
Over these past few weeks, we've been walking through all the different tools and techniques
Right.
used by Tasmanian artist Karen Eastland.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at her experiences with Suno V4, a really powerful AI tool for crafting music and vocals.
Yeah, it can do some pretty incredible stuff.
I'm excited to learn more about how Karen uses this program in her workflow,
Me too.
and I know you'll find her process fascinating.
It's really interesting to see how Karen is using AI to push the boundaries of music creation.
Yeah,
Her approach with Suno V4 is particularly intriguing
okay.
because she actually starts with writing lyrics first.
Oh, wow.
Then she uses Suno to build the music around those lyrics.
So it's almost...
It's like she's using Suno as a compositional partner,
Oh, that's a really cool way to think about it.
almost like a band member.
So is she using specific features in Suno to control the sound and style of the music?
Well, one of the key features she's been exploring is the Create Persona option
Okay.
in Suno V4.
What does that do?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
It lets users try to emulate a particular style or even a specific artist's sound.
Wow.
So, for example,
Like what?
Karen could tell Suno to create music that sounds like a David Bowie track,
Wow.
or maybe something with a 90s grunge vibe.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
But I imagine there must be some limitations, right?
You're absolutely right.
I mean, AI isn't perfect,
It's not.
and music is so nuanced.
While Suno V4 is incredibly powerful, it's not without its quirks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Karen has found that sometimes the program gets a bit stuck in a loop,
Okay.
especially when using Create Persona.
So what happens?
She's encountered instances where the generated music becomes repetitive,
Oh.
almost like it's latching onto a particular melody or chord progression and just
Yep.
can't let go.
So even with AI, there's still a need for that human touch.
Yeah.
That creative intervention to guide the process and make sure things don't get too predictable.
Right.
I'm curious, how does Karen work around these limitations?
Well, she's found that by tweaking certain parameters within the Create Persona feature,
Okay.
she can nudge Suno in a different direction.
So like what kind of things can she tweak?
For example, she might change the tempo or adjust the instrumentation slightly to break free from a repetitive loop.
It's like having to kind of
It's a real back and forth,
wrangle it a little bit.
a collaboration between her artistic vision and the AI's capabilities.
It sounds like she's developed a real feel for how to work with Suno V4
She has.
to push it to its limits
Yeah.
and coax out those unique and unexpected musical ideas.
That's right.
It's like she's speaking its language, almost like a programmer who understands the code underneath the surface.
Exactly. And it's not just about the Create Persona feature.
Okay.
Karen uses a combination of techniques in Suno to shape the final output. She might generate multiple variations of a track, then cherry-pick the best elements from each one and blend them together.
Wow.
Sometimes she even uses Suno to generate vocal melodies,
Oh, wow.
which she then adapts and refines using her own voice.
That's such a fascinating process.
It is.
It really highlights that collaborative aspect
Yes.
of working with AI in music production.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about handing over control.
No.
It's about harnessing the power of the tool
Right.
while maintaining your own artistic agency.
Absolutely.
So it's not like this is a...
And it's important to note that Suno isn't the only AI tool in Karen's arsenal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What else does she use?
She also uses a program called Udio,
Okay.
which helps her refine her lyrics before she even brings them into Suno.
Wow.
It's like having an AI editor to help polish her writing.
I love the idea of having a whole team of AI collaborators.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's like having a virtual band, a virtual editor,
Yeah,
and a virtual composer all working together
right.
to help bring your artistic vision to life.
And the collaboration doesn't stop there.
Oh, really?
Karen's process also incorporates traditional music production techniques.
Oh.
She uses software like Reaper and DaVinci Resolve to fine-tune the tracks generated by Suno,
Okay.
adding layers of instrumentation, effects, and mixing to create that polished, professional sound.
So it's really a hybrid approach,
It is.
blending the cutting-edge power of AI
Yeah,
with the tried and true methods of traditional music production.
that's right.
I'm starting to see that Karen isn't just using AI to replace her existing skills. She's using it to augment and expand them,
Yes,
to push the boundaries of what's possible in music creation.
you're spot on.
So it's not just like throwing away all the traditional stuff.
No, not at all.
It's like this really interesting marriage.
It's a perfect example of how AI can be used to enhance human creativity, not replace it.
That's a really important point, and
Yeah.
it's something we'll continue to explore
Yeah.
as we delve deeper into Karen's creative process. I'm already feeling inspired to experiment with some of these AI tools myself.
I know, me too.
But before I rush off to download Suno V4,
Uh-huh.
I want to hear more about the challenges
Okay.
Karen has faced
Well,
while using this program.
sure.
She mentioned some issues with song repetition.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about those?
It's important to acknowledge that AI tools, as advanced as they are, still have their limitations. And sometimes those limitations can lead to unexpected creative hurdles.
Okay.
In the case of Suno V4, Karen found that the program occasionally gets stuck in a rut,
Oh,
particularly when using the Create Persona feature.
what do you mean?
It's like the algorithm gets fixated on a particular pattern or melody
Okay.
and just keeps repeating it,
Oh.
even when she tries to nudge it in a different direction.
So it's kind of like,
It's like having a band member who just keeps playing the same riff over and over again.
yeah, like they're just stuck in this
Loosely.
loop.
And it highlights the importance of being able to recognize those patterns and intervene when necessary.
Yeah, you don't want to just let it go too long.
Karen has learned to identify those moments when Suno V4 is starting to spin its wheels.
Okay.
And she's developed strategies for breaking free from those repetitive loops.
I'm dying to know more about those strategies.
Well,
I'm sure our listeners are just as curious as I am to learn how Karen navigates these challenges.
Well, she's found that sometimes the simplest solution is to just start fresh with a new project in Suno V4.
Okay.
By clearing the slate and inputting new parameters, she can often break free from the repetitive cycle.
So it's almost like resetting it,
Yeah, exactly.
starting over.
Other times, she'll experiment with adjusting the tempo,
Uh,
instrumentation, or key signature within the Create Persona feature.
wow.
These subtle tweaks can sometimes be enough to nudge the algorithm in a new direction
Right.
and generate more varied and interesting results.
So it sounds like it requires a certain amount of finesse and intuition
Yeah.
to work with these AI tools effectively.
Yeah, you can't just press a button and let the computer do all the work.
So you really got to understand how it works.
It's about understanding the nuances of the program
Yeah.
and being able to guide it toward your desired outcome.
So there's still a lot of
You hit the nail on the head.
artistry and craft involved.
It's a real collaboration between the human artist and the artificial intelligence.
Oh, I like that.
And it's in that collaboration and that push and pull between creative vision
Yeah.
and technological capability that something truly unique and unexpected can emerge.
I love that.
It's like a dance between two partners,
Yeah.
each bringing their own strengths and perspectives to the table.
It's like duet.
And in the process, they create something that neither could have achieved alone.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, it is.
It's a reminder that AI is not meant to replace human creativity. It's meant to amplify it, to open up new possibilities, and to push the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
I can't wait to hear more about how Karen has applied these principles in her own music.
Me neither.
But before we delve into specific examples of her work,
Okay.
let's take a quick break.
Welcome back.
So before the break, we were talking about Karen's almost intuitive approach to working with Suno V4.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's able to coax some really interesting results.
She really is, and what's even more impressive is her versatility.
Oh, okay.
She's used Suno to create music across a wide range of genres.
Wow.
We're talking everything from introspective folk songs to high-energy electronic tracks.
So she's really
It's clear that she's not limiting herself creatively,
experimenting with all the different things that Suno can do.
even when working within the framework of AI.
That's so cool. It really speaks to the potential of these AI tools to expand our creative horizons.
Yeah.
It's not about being boxed in by algorithms.
No, it's not.
It's about using those algorithms as a springboard
Right.
for exploration and experimentation.
Exactly. And Karen's work is a testament to that.
Okay.
She's not afraid to push the boundaries, to see what these tools are capable of,
Yeah.
and to use them in unexpected ways.
Can you give us an example of how she's used Suno to create music in different styles?
Sure.
I'd love to hear about a specific track where she really pushed the program to its limits?
Well, one that comes to mind is a track called Echoes in the Machine.
Okay.
It's a haunting ballad with a very ethereal, atmospheric sound.
Oh, wow.
She used Suno's Create Persona feature to generate a soundscape that evokes a sense of vastness and mystery,
Uh-huh.
almost like something you'd hear in a science fiction film score.
Wow, that sounds incredible.
It is.
It's amazing to think that she was able to achieve that level of cinematic scope using an AI program.
I know. It's pretty amazing.
Did she use any traditional instruments in that track?
Yeah.
Or was it all AI generated?
It's actually a beautiful blend of both.
Oh, okay.
She used Suno to create the core harmonic structure and some of the ambient textures,
Okay.
but then she layered in her own vocals and acoustic guitar playing.
Uh-huh.
The result is this really stunning fusion of organic and synthetic sounds.
It sounds like she's found a way to use AI
Yeah.
as a way to enhance her own musicality,
Hmm.
not to replace it.
Right.
It's like she's using Suno as a tool to expand her sonic palette,
Yeah.
to create sounds and textures
Yeah.
that she might not have been able to achieve otherwise.
Precisely. And that's what's so exciting about this whole field of AI in music production.
Yeah.
It's not about handing over control to the machines.
Right.
It's about finding new ways to collaborate with them, to use them as creative partners in our artistic journey.
I'm really starting to see that, and it makes me wonder, what are the broader implications of this kind of collaboration?
Yeah.
Where do you see this all going in the future? Do you think AI will eventually replace human musicians altogether?
That's a question that's on a lot of people's minds these days.
It is.
And honestly, it's hard to say for sure what the future holds.
Yeah,
AI is advancing at an incredible pace.
it is.
And it's certainly capable of creating music that's technically impressive, but I don't think it will ever fully replace the human element in music.
Why not?
Yeah.
What is it about human musicians that AI can't replicate?
It's that spark of creativity, that
Okay.
intangible essence that comes from lived experience, from emotion, from the human soul.
Yeah,
AI can mimic styles.
right.
It can learn patterns,
Uh-huh.
but it can't truly understand the depth of human feeling that goes into creating great music.
That makes sense. It's like the difference between reading a recipe and actually tasting the food.
Exactly.
The recipe can give you the technical steps,
Yeah.
but it can't convey the flavor, the aroma, the experience of eating the meal.
And that's why I believe that human musicians will always have a vital role to play in music creation.
Nice.
Even as AI becomes more sophisticated, it's
Mhm.
our unique human perspective, our ability to infuse music with emotion and meaning
Yeah.
that will continue to resonate with listeners.
That's a really reassuring thought.
I think so too.
It's nice to know that even in this age of rapidly advancing technology, there's still a place for the human heart in art.
Absolutely. And I think Karen Eastland's work is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
She's using AI to push the boundaries of music creation,
Uh-huh.
but she's always doing it in a way that feels deeply personal and human.
Yeah.
Her music isn't just technically proficient,
Right.
it's emotionally resonant. It speaks to the soul.
And that's something that no algorithm can ever replicate.
I couldn't agree more.
I agree.
And I think that's what makes this whole conversation about AI and music so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just about the technology.
It's about us.
It's about what that technology allows us to do as human creators.
Right, using it to do.
It's about the possibilities it opens up,
Yeah.
the new ways of thinking and making that it inspires.
It sounds like we're on the cusp of a really exciting era in music.
I think so.
One where the lines between human and machine become increasingly blurred.
Exactly. And it's anyone's guess what incredible new sounds and experiences will emerge from this fusion of art and technology.
That's so true.
But one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride.
I can't wait to see where it takes us.
Uh-huh.
But before we get too carried away with visions of the future,
Okay.
let's circle back to Karen's process for a moment.
All right.
You mentioned earlier that she uses AI to enhance her own poems and lyrics.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that aspect of her workflow?
Sure. It's actually a really interesting part of her creative journey.
Okay.
She's been using ChatGPT,
Okay.
a powerful language model, to help her refine her writing.
Oh.
It's like having a virtual writing partner,
That's so cool.
someone to bounce ideas off of and get feedback from.
That's so cool. I've heard a lot about ChatGPT, but
Yeah.
I never thought of using it for poetry or lyrics.
It can be really helpful.
What kind of feedback does it give?
Well, she's actually created a specific persona within ChatGPT that she calls Soul.
So.
She sees Soul as a sort of editor-in-chief,
Okay.
someone who can provide constructive criticism,
Okay.
and help her polish her work.
So how does that work?
She might give Saul a draft of a poem or song lyrics, and Saul will offer suggestions for improving the flow, the imagery, the overall impact.
That's brilliant. It's like having a personal writing coach available 24/7.
It is pretty amazing.
Does she always take Saul's advice?
Wow.
Or does she ever push back?
She definitely doesn't treat Saul's suggestions as gospel.
Okay.
She sees it more as a starting point for further exploration.
Okay.
Sometimes she'll take Saul's advice to heart and make significant changes. Other times she'll use it as a springboard for coming up with her own ideas.
Got it.
It's all about finding that balance between collaboration
Yeah.
and maintaining her own unique voice.
It sounds like a really dynamic process of back and forth between human intuition and artificial intelligence.
It is.
It makes you wonder if, in a way, Karen is actually teaching Saul as much as Saul is teaching her.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
And it's quite possible that by interacting with Karen's creative input, Soul is actually evolving and refining its own understanding of language and artistry.
So they're kind of growing together.
It's a reminder that the relationship between humans and AI isn't always one-sided.
Yeah.
We're constantly shaping and influencing each other.
That's a profound insight.
It is.
And it speaks to the potential of AI to be more than just a tool.
Right.
It could be a collaborator, a muse, even a catalyst
Yeah.
for pushing the boundaries of human creativity.
I couldn't agree more. And as we continue to explore the intersection of art and technology, I think we'll discover even more amazing ways in which AI can enhance and expand our creative potential.
But for now, let's take another short break. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
You know, it's fascinating to think about how AI is changing the game for artists like Karen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about music production.
Right.
She's also using AI for visual art, right?
That's right. She's been experimenting with programs like Ideogram and Google FX
Okay.
to create album covers and promotional materials.
Right. It's like marketing stuff, too.
And she's been really impressed with the results,
Oh, wow.
particularly when it comes to achieving a certain level of realism in her artwork.
What do you mean by realism? Can you give us an example?
Well, she told me about an album cover she created using Ideogram
Okay.
that features a photorealistic image of a crowd at a concert.
Wow.
The lighting, the composition, the energy of the crowd,
Okay.
it all looks so authentic.
Huh?
You'd swear it was a photograph of an actual event,
And it's not.
but it was entirely generated by AI.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is.
I can see how that would be a game changer for
Yeah.
independent artists
Right.
who might not have the budget to hire a professional photographer or graphic designer.
Exactly. And it opens up a whole new world of creative possibilities.
Like what?
Imagine being able to create custom artwork for each song on your album,
Yeah.
or even generating visuals that respond to the music in real time during a live performance.
Whoa. That would be cool.
The potential is mind-boggling.
It really is.
Yeah.
But it also raises some interesting questions.
Yeah, it does.
About artistic ownership and originality.
Right.
If AI can create art that looks and sounds just like human-made art,
Mm-hmm.
how do we value and appreciate creativity in the future?
That's a big question, and one that we're still grappling with as a society.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's important to remember that AI, for all its capabilities, is still a tool.
Okay.
It's a reflection of the data it's trained on, the algorithms it's programmed with.
Uh-huh.
The real creativity lies in how humans choose to use that tool,
Right.
how they shape and mold it to express their own unique vision.
That makes sense. It's like the difference between a painter using a brush
Yeah.
and a computer using a digital paint program.
Exactly.
The tools might be different,
Right.
but the fundamental act of creation, the expression of human imagination, remains the same.
Precisely. And I think that's what we're seeing with artists like Karen Eastland.
Yeah.
They're embracing AI as a new way to expand their creative horizons.
Right.
But they're not letting it define them.
Yeah.
They're still the driving force behind the art.
Right.
The ones making the choices, the ones infusing the work with their own personality and soul.
I love that it's a reminder that even in this age of rapidly evolving technology,
Yeah,
the human spirit remains at the heart of creativity.
absolutely.
But speaking of human spirit, there's one more aspect of Karen's process that I want to touch on before we wrap up.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that she still values traditional methods of creating, like handwriting her initial drafts.
Yeah,
Can you tell us more about that?
absolutely. I think it speaks to the idea that even the most tech-savvy artists
Okay.
often find solace and inspiration in the tactile, the analog, the unplugged.
Yeah.
For Karen, the act of physically putting pen to paper is a way to connect with her creativity on a deeper level,
Okay.
to get away from the distractions of screens and notifications, and to tap into that raw, unfiltered flow of ideas.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
There's something magical about the feeling of a pen gliding across a page.
It is.
The way words seem to flow more effortlessly when you're writing by hand.
Yeah.
It's like a direct connection between your mind and the page.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that creativity isn't always about the latest gadgets or the most sophisticated software. It's about finding what works for you,
Yeah.
what sparks your imagination, what helps you tap into that creative wellspring within.
Well said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah, I agree.
As we've seen throughout this deep dive, Karen Eastland's journey is a testament to the power of embracing both the old and the new. The analog and the digital,
Right.
the human and the machine.
That's right.
She's not afraid to experiment,
No, she's not.
to push boundaries, to find new ways to express her unique artistic vision.
And in doing so, she's inspiring countless others
Yeah.
to explore the vast and ever-evolving landscape of creativity, to find their own voice amidst the symphony of human and artificial intelligence.
What a thought-provoking conversation.
It has been.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
I know our listeners are going to walk away with a whole new appreciation for the power of AI in music production and beyond.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights.
Absolutely.
And remember, as Karen has shown us, the only limit to creativity is the one we set for ourselves.
That's true.
So go out there, explore, experiment, and never stop creating.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating exploration of the world of AI and creativity.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep diving deep.
Thanks for stopping